Alrighty, I am Taylor Henry with Compass Realty Group. This is my 109-acre listing here in Richland County. I think it's secretly one of the best hunting properties that has come on the market in the last year. Richland County has been known for Boone and Crockett type records, Boone and Crockett type numbers. It is ranked as ranks 18th in the nation for the most Boone and Crockett entries, and it ranks pretty high in Wisconsin, as Wisconsin is the top state in the country for Boone and Crockett. So the awesome things about this property is it's 109 acres, but there's 3 different options on the parcels. You could buy this South 52, which is just 52 acres. The north section is only 38, and then we have the homestead and barn and different options here with 18 acres. Or you can buy it all together, and buying it all together adds a little bit better price. So looking at the neighborhood to me is bred for giant deer. This green marker here and then the line shows where a 200-ish range inch buck was harvested, and I can only go by what's rumored and what I was told. But here are some of the pictures of that buck. Okay. Landowner said that he had seen that buck as well. We do not have any trail cam pictures of it to prove that. Here are some of the trail cam pictures that he does have. Just nice quality deer. That's a high end deer right there. If not, you only get a few chances to hunt deer like that. And that's just the type of area this is. And then when we zoom out and take a look here, I'm gonna get rid of this. It's about 1.5 miles from where that deer was harvested, and that's just what I'm told. I believe it though. Richland County produces big bucks all the time. Now looking out, we have Highway 14 bordering here to the south, about 1.5 miles away. That's a hard border. I would assume most of the big bucks are living either north or south of that border. Obviously, they can travel north and south during the rut, but like we always kind of see, when I look at these properties, I'm looking at roads that are kind of borders of bucks territory. The general region that I would look at, probably the deer that are living in this parcel are something like this. You're always looking in that 500 to 1,000 acre range, and then I kind of this is about 6,000 acres right here. Okay. That's to me, you have about a 5,000 acre range throughout a buck's life. Shrink it down to 500 to 1,000. What they do on a yearly basis, and then obviously you have wanderers and different deer doing different things. But when we look at this 6,000 acre section here, and we only have we have the 100 acres right dead center of this section. So you have a county road border in here to the east, you have a county road border in here to the west, and then you have Highway 14 to the south, and then you have a little bit more of an ag type, not as much cover, heading here to the north with a county road up here to the north that maybe could be a break off. Get rid of that. Okay, so now when we zoom in, I like how we have all these big giant pieces of cover. You do have a big ag field here that obviously provides some good food sources, but we're a little bit wide. We have wide kind of range here. There's a ton of cover here. This giant lot right here is in it by itself could house how many deer. And then you just have these giant wood lots with pastures kind of running in the bottoms and up through the valleys. That's what the majority of this valley kind of works as. You have Mill Creek running through here, which is a constant creek that's always going to give you a water option and a water source. There hasn't been too many issues with flooding on this farm before. There's actually a U.S. Corps of Engineer ditch that's dredged here that helps with the flooding quite a bit. Okay, let's go into the south. One more thing. So this big chunk here of timber and big chunk of cover gets pinched down. So you have a big egg field here, you have a big egg field here, and you have a big egg field here. I think it gets really pinched down through this property, okay, which makes this property even better. Now, when we zoom down closer, I'm looking at this 5 acre type parcel, this food plot option here. there is no other real food in the area. You have food option here over to the east. You have, and majority of these fields are pasture. And then it looks like you have some options over here. If someone could get a really good food source in here, you would have a killer option. Okay, I love the access from the north. Pop up this north side, hop on this trail, get into this field where you have cedars and a lot of things covering your access here. I would keep most of this area here as your sanctuary for bedding, and that's about 17 acres. You have beautiful south face here, you have some north face, you have some backside south face here. That's exactly what you want to house a lot of deer and to provide a lot of cover close to this food source. I'd keep this green line is the access trails that are currently there in place. I'd keep that there. That's what I would use to go check trails with that. I would not, however, access that when I was hunting. I would access up this back spine and get back into this corner. And you could put a blind out in this field. There's a few different options here. You got to think about it when we're getting into a colder months or later in the season. You know, there's some cedar. Can you make an additional 5-acre option food source down here? Yes, I think you could. I would try to get some type of screening, visual screening from the road, as you are kind of angled down here and it's a downslope, so you'd be able to see. But if you plant some trees and you plant some tall grasses, you know, you could probably get some type of food source up into this ditch. Some of the visuals. So the north, this is the South 52. I think this is probably you know, for the person who wants to do some food plotting, who wants to really be able to manage their own property. This is about as good as it gets. For 52 acres, you're gonna have food, cover, and water, and that's kind of hard to find sometimes on 52 acres. This north section is 38 acres. You don't have as many options for food plots, but I think you have way more topography and a lot of nooks and crannies for bedding. As you can see, all of this is kind of broken up. So this is a 38-acre parcel that hunts much bigger than that. You have a big ditch coming here up to the north that also, then we have one coming, you know, more of a southwest angle here. Then you have one coming up through the middle. All of these little ditches throughout here, I think, support good bedding with these knobs and points. You know, predominant northwest winds would support all the bedding that you would need here. Could you get another food source here in this bottom? Once again, it's the same type of conversation. You know, you'd want to work out some visual screening. This area right here, you know, you have some higher knobs that you could probably pretty easily block and get visual screening on from the road, and then you could be able to put a blind here on that bottom side, get maybe a little half-acre to acre food plot, something like this. That's about, yeah, you can make it, so say a quarter to a half acre, something like that. Screen it off here, pop up into the blind. That's actually pretty blocked from the road. I think you'd have some good options there. Both woods have been grazed by goats, so the invasive species, the buckthorn, honeysuckle, have been stripped down and they're pretty much taken care of. So what you have here is kind of a park-like setting of oak trees with a forest floor that's waiting to take off. It's been grazed. There's been animals on it for a long time. There's a little bit of a canopy that's covering it that if you cut that back a little bit and got some sunlight to the floor, you could have the ideal type of environment for big bucks and turkeys and any other type of wildlife. This property, I love the 180 point here. You know, this already kind of has a clearing where we have this house. There's a little bit of a shelter up there that's been put in. You could make a food plot where this red outline is. That gives you about an acre almost that you could make. You really could. And that would be an amazing access here up the south spine. Pop into the bottom here where this house is marked, or pop in up in here. You know, there is a kind of a hill road that the seller did start, and that comes right along this southern base here. You know, you have some building opportunities on both parcels. Each parcel, you could put a house pretty much anywhere along the road. If you wanted to work hard in this North 38, you could get one up here in this section if you didn't want to hurt the hunting quality. This southern section, you know, you could put a cabin next to the shed, or you could wrap around the corner here and put another house cabin up in this valley. I don't think that's going to hurt the hunting at all. Now, if you were to buy the whole thing, do not think that this east section is a waste, because it is not. Look at how beautiful and awesome the section off to the east is here. You have pine trees and you have a creek. I think there's tons of bedding, tons of good habitat over here. And if you were to put a solid food source, you could line screening cover here along the creek, and I think you'd have a dynamite food plot option here for late season hunting. With easy access out of your barn, or sitting in the barn or outside of the barn. So, you know, these properties with this much different options, you know, you can hunt, you know, northwest, say a northwest wind, the most predominant wind we have in the fall. Your whole north 38 section is going to be wide open too. I would say for sure you're going to want, you know, maybe with a northwest wind, you stay back on this point a little bit and send that down over in the valley. If you get a due west wind, all this food plot's going to be wide open. You know, I'd hunt it with a dead south wind and send it back over into that creek. You know, a southeast, which we always get some of those in the fall. You could hunt maybe back on this knob here and send it back over. This spine right here gives you opportunity to hunt a lot of different winds because it's a steep drop off. As long as you can get up there quietly and safely, you're going to be sitting really good as far as wind, especially if you get up in a blind or in a closed structure that helps you protect yourself a little bit. Okay. Now, if you wanted a dead north wind, maybe you can get back into a stand on this knob and send it down into that valley. I think it's a little bit tight. I'd be careful of that. And of course, if you'd ever want to, you know, go after maybe an early morning, end of October type bed hunt, you could come right up this fence line, sneak into this knob, and I bet there's some dandy beds in there. There's great sign below this knob down through this ditch and valley that shows that there's some, you know, big bucks that have been living there in the past. So I think it's a world-class property. I think if someone came in with the idea to just harvest big bucks and to manage it for deer hunting, it would turn into a heck of a property. It hasn't really been hunted since 2017, and it has never really been managed for hunting. You know, it's an operating goat farm that has a ton of potential. And with the goats being there, I like the way the woods is set up right now, because an owner can come in and he can make the adjustments he wants. You know, you can get a good idea of all the square footage on the ground because of those invasives haven't taken everything over. You know, we go into a lot of timber lots now, and it's just hard to get through due to all the invasives. And granted, we can argue and talk about whether or not that's good cover for a property, but it's you know, it might be good cover, but there's no food value in there. And you know, we're always wanting to create food value inside the timber for bucks. So another thing on this North 38 is how good this inside corner is and how that works with the property. This is a fence line here. You open that gate up or open a little section of that fence, there's going to be a funnel and pinch point. Look at how everything works together here. You have an inside corner coming off the neighbors. This looks like, you know, you have some pasture and some gnarly cover. Not only is this an inside corner, but it also works into a knob here that runs down with a saddle coming up through the property here. That is a dynamite spot, absolute dynamite spot. With just a little bit of an adjustment. And then this ridge right here, this knob that runs out, it's just very, very deery, if you know what I'm saying. Anyways, so this is a great 109 acres. You're looking for a you know, it's an older farmhouse, but if it's a hunting group or a group of hunters, I think it's a perfect type of hunting shack house for that, with, you know, minimal effort to fix it up. You know, it's livable right now, but you could make it, you know, into a rental. You could make it into an Airbnb, any of that stuff, you know. And then you have the sheds and barn that you could always rent out and have some additional income as well. Plus, the whole place is, you know, fenced with woven wire if you did want to have some custom grazing in there, or rented grazing. And then you could always, you know, rent out, you know, a few of the acres on this bottom. And if you wanted to, you could rent out acres over here as well. So there's a lot of options. I wanted to break down the hunting options a little bit more. And if you're interested, go ahead and get a hold of me at Taylor Henry 608-606-9118. Go ahead and take a look at the property some more at driftlessregionland.com as well. Thanks.